Today, we will delve into a topic that unfortunately is quite common in the daily lives of many: manipulation. This form of negative social influence demonstrates how individuals or organizations use subtle tactics to gain control and advantage over others. Manipulation can manifest in various aspects of life, whether in the workplace, personal relationships, or even within large social groups. Therefore, comprehending and reflecting on these tactics is not only a means to protect one's autonomy, but also to foster healthier and more transparent relationships. It is crucial to learn how to defend oneself, and to aid in this, we will explore the most intense manipulation tactics. Remember that all knowledge is neutral, as its application depends on the user. Thus, bear in mind that these tactics are dark, and the aim of this content is for you to learn how to shield yourself from them, not to employ them against others. This knowledge is akin to a tool that can be utilized to create something magnificent or to perpetrate evil. Therefore, all the knowledge you acquire from this video should be utilized responsibly, whether for self-defense or personal growth. We will uncover how manipulation subtly infiltrates our lives, often without our awareness. We will demystify these techniques not only to identify them but also to equip ourselves with the necessary tools to combat them. By the end, I assure you that you will be better prepared to face the world with a more critical eye and a sharper mind. Here lies the darkest aspect of the world of manipulation. Before we commence, please show your support by liking and subscribing to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated and comes at no cost to you. Let us begin. 1. Initiated triangulation is a subtle yet potent manipulation strategy that entails involving a third party in a relationship dynamic to sow discord, tension, or confusion. The manipulator utilizes this third party as a tool to assert dominance, destabilize the existing relationship, or divert attention from their own questionable behavior. Through triangulation, the manipulator may pit individuals against each other by sharing distorted or confidential information, or by using the third party to validate their own beliefs and emotions while discrediting the other party. This can lead victims to question their own perceptions and emotions, ultimately isolating them and fostering dependence on the manipulator. For instance, within a family setting, a parent may speak negatively about one child to another, forming an alliance with the latter and leaving the former feeling isolated and insecure. Similarly, in a workplace scenario, a boss might spread unfavorable details about one employee to another, sparking rivalry and distrust between them. Triangulation is especially harmful as it erodes trust and direct communication between the involved parties, enabling the manipulator to retain control and evade accountability for conflicts or misunderstandings. Victims of this tactic often find themselves trapped in a cycle of disputes and misunderstandings without fully comprehending the source or the manipulator's role in these issues. Combating triangulation necessitates recognizing the tactic, fostering open and honest communication among the manipulated parties, and establishing firm personal boundaries. It is imperative to question the accuracy of the information received, seek clarifications directly from the other parties involved, and decline to engage in discussions or actions that promote division or distrust. 2. The double bind is a psychological manipulation tactic that places individuals in a situation where they are faced with two contradictory choices or conflicting messages. Regardless of the decision they make, they will be deemed wrong or at a disadvantage. This tactic is commonly used to confuse and control the victim, leaving them feeling powerless, confused, and anxious. The manipulator may communicate mutually exclusive expectations or demands, creating a no-win situation for the victim. For instance, a parent may criticize their child for not being open and communicative. However, when the child tries to express their feelings, they are reprimanded for being disrespectful or overly sensitive. In this example, the child is trapped in a double bind. If they open up, they are punished, and if they remain silent, they are criticized. This manipulation technique can also occur in relationships, where one person may express a desire for more independence but becomes upset or distant when their partner spends time alone. The victim of this manipulation becomes confused and insecure about how to act, as all their actions seem to result in a negative response. The double bind is particularly insidious because it undermines the person's ability to trust their own perception and judgment. This can lead to constant self-doubt and decreased self-esteem, making the person more dependent on the manipulator. To navigate a double bind, it is crucial to recognize that the situation is a manipulation trap and not a reflection of one's own incompetence or failure. Seeking support from trusted friends, counselors, or therapists can help the victim validate their own perceptions and feelings. Additionally, setting clear boundaries and communicating assertively are essential steps to protect oneself against this type of manipulation. 3. Projection is a psychological tactic in which the manipulator attributes their own flaws, feelings, or inappropriate intentions to the victim. This occurs when the manipulator is unwilling or unable to acknowledge their own negative behaviors, instead projecting them onto the other person. By doing so, the manipulator makes the victim feel guilty or doubtful about their own actions or feelings. This defense mechanism distorts the victim's reality, leading them to question their own perceptions and feel responsible for problems or feelings that actually belong to the manipulator. For instance, a jealous partner may falsely accuse their significant other of being unfaithful or flirting, when in reality, it is the accuser who is having these thoughts or behaviors. Projection allows the manipulator to shift attention away from their own flaws and place blame on the victim, often causing the victim to feel defensive, confused, or guilty without reason. This can undermine the victim's self-esteem and increase their emotional dependence on the manipulator. Dealing with projection requires the victim to maintain a strong sense of their own reality and boundaries. It is crucial for the individual to recognize when they are being targeted by this tactic and not internalize the baseless accusations. Keeping a record of their thoughts and feelings, seeking feedback from trustworthy individuals, and practicing self-affirmation are effective strategies for combating manipulation through projection. Moreover, it is important for the victim to emotionally distance themselves from the manipulator and establish clear boundaries, refusing to take responsibility for problems or feelings that are not their own. In severe cases, it may be necessary to sever ties or seek professional assistance to address the repercussions of this form of manipulation. 4. Time pressure is a tactic used by manipulators to coerce their victims into making quick decisions. By creating a false sense of urgency, the manipulator claims that immediate action must be taken to avoid negative consequences or to seize a unique opportunity. This method preys on the victim's fear of loss and anxiety, limiting the time they have to think, research, or seek other opinions. For instance, high-pressure sales tactics often employ this strategy, with sellers insisting that offers are time-limited or that only a few items remain. However, time pressure can also be present in personal and professional relationships, where someone demands an immediate response to a significant request or imposes an unrealistic deadline for an important decision. Under such circumstances, the manipulated individual may end up making impulsive decisions that ultimately harm themselves and benefit the manipulator. The artificial urgency prevents the victim from considering all available options or seeking advice from others, hindering their ability to combat this tactic. To counteract this manipulation, it is crucial to recognize when someone is attempting to manipulate time to influence your decision. It is important to request time to think and not succumb to the pressure to act immediately. Remember that very few decisions genuinely require an instant response. Additionally, be aware that time pressure serves as a warning sign for manipulation, and by waiting, you may gain additional information that will aid in making a more informed and balanced decision. 5. Inconsistency and unpredictability are tactics used by manipulators to create confusion and insecurity in their victims. This behavior can range from being loving and attentive one moment to cold or disdainful the next, without any apparent reason. Such patterns of behavior keep the victim in a constant state of disorientation and anxiety, as they are unable to predict or understand the actions of the manipulator. This tactic is often employed in abusive relationships, where the abuser alternates between kindness and cruelty to create an emotionally unstable environment. The victim, in their quest to comprehend the manipulator's behavior and seek approval or love, may find themselves trapped in a cycle of trying to please the manipulator, but never achieving stability or satisfaction. Unpredictability is effective because it capitalizes on the human desire for consistency and stability. When a person's actions do not follow a logical or predictable pattern, it becomes challenging for others to adapt or respond appropriately, leading to emotional and psychological dependence on the manipulator, who seems to be the only source of solution or relief. To address inconsistency and unpredictability, it is crucial for the victim to recognize the manipulator's behavioral patterns and understand that it is not their responsibility to constantly correct or adapt to please the manipulator. Establishing clear boundaries and maintaining emotional distance from the manipulator is vital. Additionally, seeking support from friends, family, or professionals can provide the necessary perspective and support to deal with this form of manipulation and rebuild self-esteem and independence. 6. The manipulator uses emotional blackmail to exploit the emotions of another person in order to achieve their own desires. This manipulation typically involves inducing feelings of obligation, fear, guilt, or shame in the victim, pushing them to act in a way that goes against their own interests or values to meet the manipulator's demands. At the heart of emotional blackmail lies the misuse of the emotional connection between the individuals involved. The manipulator may directly or indirectly imply that their well-being, happiness, or love hinges on the victim's actions, creating a scenario where the victim feels accountable for the manipulator's emotional well-being. Common instances of emotional blackmail include statements like, "If you truly cared about me, you would do this," or "I can't believe you'd leave me to deal with this alone." These phrases not only impose a false sense of duty but also instill fear of loss or guilt for failing to meet expectations. To combat emotional blackmail, it is crucial to identify when it is occurring. Set and uphold clear boundaries, and communicate assertively by expressing your own needs and emotions without letting fear, guilt, or obligation dictate your behavior. Strengthening self-esteem and seeking support from friends, family, or professionals can also be vital in resisting the pressure and preserving your autonomy. 7. Gaslighting is a manipulative tactic where the manipulator vehemently denies or distorts events to contradict the victim's memory. They may also belittle the victim's feelings, labeling their reactions as irrational, or use privileged information to discredit them. This leads the victim to constantly question themselves and seek validation from others. Gaslighting can occur in personal relationships, the workplace, or broader contexts like politics or the media. The impact of gaslighting is significant, causing anxiety, depression, and a loss of trust in one's own perceptions and memories. To counter gaslighting, it is important to strengthen trust in oneself and one's own perceptions. This may involve keeping a record of events, seeking external perspectives for validation, and establishing clear boundaries with the manipulator. In severe cases, removing oneself from the toxic situation may be necessary. Recognizing and acknowledging the experience is crucial as it empowers the victim and reduces the manipulator's control. 8. False social approval is a manipulative technique in which the manipulator pretends or exaggerates the level of support, agreement, or approval from others in order to influence the victim. In this context, the manipulator may fabricate stories, distort facts, or create an illusion of consensus to convince the victim that a certain opinion, behavior, or product is more popular or acceptable than it actually is. This tactic takes advantage of the human tendency to conform to group norms and seek social approval. People often modify their opinions, attitudes, or behaviors to align with what they perceive to be the group consensus, especially in situations of uncertainty or when there is evident social pressure. By simulating broad acceptance or support, the manipulator can lead the victim to believe that by following a certain course of action, they are joining the majority and making the correct or popular choice. For instance, in advertising, this can be observed through the use of testimonials from supposedly satisfied customers that are not genuine, or by claiming that a product is the best selling without concrete evidence. In personal relationships, a manipulator may falsely claim that everyone thinks or says something to pressure the victim into agreement or conformity. To protect oneself against false social approval, it is crucial to develop critical thinking skills and question the truthfulness of claims of popularity or acceptance. It is important to seek concrete and reliable evidence before accepting claims of consensus and to maintain confidence in one's own perceptions and judgments, even if it means standing against the supposed majority. Recognizing and understanding this manipulation tactic allows individuals to make more authentic choices that are less influenced by the pressure to conform to fictitious or exaggerated social norms. 9. Concealing information is a tactic used to manipulate others by intentionally withholding crucial or pertinent details. This manipulative strategy aims to sway decisions or perceptions by distorting reality through incomplete information. This type of manipulation can occur in various settings, ranging from personal relationships to business transactions and politics. For instance, in a romantic relationship, one partner may hide information about their financial situation or past relationships, which can undermine trust and affect the dynamics of the relationship. Similarly, In the workplace, a colleague or superior might omit critical project details, hindering an employee's ability to efficiently complete tasks or make informed decisions. In sales or negotiation scenarios, concealing information about product defects or unfavorable terms can deceive consumers or the opposing party. In the political sphere, withholding relevant information from the public can sway public opinion and electoral outcomes. To defend against information concealment, it is crucial to be aware of this possibility and adopt a questioning and investigative approach. Fact-checking from multiple sources, asking detailed questions, and seeking transparency in all interactions and transactions are essential. Furthermore, developing critical awareness and not accepting information at face value can help identify when important details are being concealed. By recognizing that information concealment is a form of manipulation, individuals can become more vigilant and less susceptible to decisions or opinions based on incomplete or distorted information. Understanding the significance of open and honest communication is key to fostering transparent and equitable relationships. 10. Fear attachment is a manipulative tactic that often creates a sense of urgency or desperation in the victim, making them believe that something terrible will happen if they don't comply. This can range from direct threats to subtle insinuations or the creation of negative hypothetical scenarios. The goal is to make the victim feel like they have no choice but to obey or agree with the manipulator in order to avoid the feared outcome. This technique can be observed in various contexts, such as personal relationships, workplaces, marketing, and even politics. For instance, a partner may use the fear of abandonment to control the other person's behavior, or a boss may imply that an employee's job security depends on their compliance with certain demands. In advertising, fear attachment can be used to convince consumers that they need a product to avoid danger or social embarrassment. To defend against fear attachment, it is important to recognize when fear is being used as a tool of manipulation. This may involve questioning the reality of the threats presented, objectively evaluating one's own options, and seeking advice or alternative perspectives. It is crucial to stay calm and not act impulsively under the influence of fear, while also strengthening self-esteem and support networks to reduce vulnerability to fear-based manipulation. Developing a clear understanding of one's own boundaries and rights can help a person stand against attempts at manipulation that exploit fear. Additionally, learning coping techniques and resilience can help deal with fear in a healthy and assertive manner, reducing the impact that the manipulator can have on the victim's emotions and decisions. 11. The blame game is a common manipulation strategy used by manipulators to shift responsibility for their mistakes, failures, or behaviors onto the victim. This tactic is aimed at making the victim feel guilty, even if they have done nothing wrong, leading them to doubt themselves, apologize excessively, and even take on responsibilities that are not theirs. Manipulators use the blame game to divert attention from their own inappropriate actions, maintaining control and avoiding the consequences of their behavior by making the victim feel responsible for negative problems or situations. By doing so, the manipulator can maintain a position of power and influence, weakening the victim's self-esteem and assertiveness. This technique can be observed in various contexts, such as abusive relationships, the workplace, or dysfunctional family dynamics. For instance, in a relationship, A manipulative partner may blame the other for their own jealous or irrational behavior, claiming that the victim's actions that provoke such reactions. Similarly, at work, a colleague or superior might attribute the failure of a project to the victim, even though the responsibility is shared or entirely the manipulator's. To defend against the blame game, it is crucial to maintain a clear sense of reality and not accept blame for things that are outside one's control or clearly someone else's responsibility. Strengthening self-awareness and self-esteem helps to recognize and reject unfair assignments of blame. Keeping a record of events and conversations can be useful for contesting false accusations and maintaining an objective perspective. Additionally, it is important to establish clear boundaries with the manipulator and communicate assertively that the attempt to shift blame is unacceptable. Seeking support from friends, family, or professionals can also provide validation and additional perspective, helping the victim to break free from the imposed cycle of guilt by the manipulator. 12. False praise is a tactic used by manipulators to exert control over their victims. By offering insincere compliments, the manipulator aims to gain the victim's trust, lower their defenses, or create a sense of indebtedness. This technique is often employed to soften someone before making a request or to divert their attention from hidden motives. Skilled manipulators use compliments to create a positive atmosphere and a false sense of security. When individuals feel valued or praised, they are more likely to reciprocate or maintain the positive feeling, making them more susceptible to manipulation. False praise can be directed towards various aspects of the victim, such as their appearance, intelligence, or abilities. However, it differs from genuine compliments in its underlying intention. While sincere compliments are driven by admiration or appreciation without any expectation of return, false praise aims to manipulate or extract something from the individual being praised. The manipulator may not genuinely believe what they are saying, but they understand the power of positive words in controlling or influencing someone's behavior. To guard against false praise, it is crucial to develop the ability to discern the sincerity of compliments. Observing the behavior patterns of the person offering the compliments, considering the context in which they are given, and assessing the consistency between their words and actions can help identify whether the compliments are genuine or not. Additionally, maintaining a healthy self-esteem and not relying solely on external validation allows individuals to accept compliments without being unduly influenced by them. 13. Victimization is a tactic used by manipulators to portray themselves as victims of unfair circumstances, other people, or events beyond their control. This strategy aims to elicit sympathy, avoid accountability for their actions, and influence the behavior of others in their favor. Manipulators seek to evoke compassion and persuade others to make concessions, offer assistance, or adjust their expectations and behaviors towards them. This form of manipulation can be highly effective as it taps into the innate human instinct to help and protect those who are suffering or disadvantaged. However, victimization is not a genuine expression of distress but rather a calculated approach to achieve specific goals, such as diverting attention from inappropriate behaviors, exerting control over others, or gaining resources and benefits. Additionally, manipulators may use victimization to reverse the roles of culprit and victim, particularly after they have made a mistake or harmed someone. By portraying themselves as the true victim, They attempt to evade the consequences of their actions and may even manipulate the real victim into feeling guilty and apologizing. To protect oneself against manipulation through victimization, it is crucial to maintain a balance between empathy and objectivity. While it is important to recognize when someone is genuinely going through a difficult time, it is equally important to critically evaluate the situation, especially if patterns of victimization start to emerge. Establishing clear boundaries and maintaining a balanced perspective on the responsibilities and actions of each individual involved can be helpful in guarding against manipulation. 14. The intentional use of silence or refusal to communicate as a means of exerting power, control, or punishment over someone is known as the silent treatment. This form of manipulation, also referred to as intentional silence tactics, can have detrimental effects on the victim. By invalidating the victim as emotional expression, it creates an environment of uncertainty, anxiety, and isolation. The manipulator employs this tactic by ignoring messages, calls, or direct attempts at dialogue, leaving the victim feeling rejected, insecure, and desperate for resolution or explanation. The ultimate goal of the manipulator is to make the victim question their own behavior, feelings, and worth, leading them to assume blame for the silence and often make unnecessary concessions or apologies. Silence can be a powerful weapon as it capitalizes on the human need for communication and validation. Without feedback or communication, the person on the receiving end may feel devalued and invisible, significantly impacting their self-esteem and emotional well-being. To effectively deal with these tactics of silence, it is crucial for the victim to recognize that it is a form of emotional manipulation and not a reflection of their own value or guilt. Maintaining one's integrity, seeking external support, and clearly communicating one's feelings without begging for attention are important steps to take. Additionally, establishing clear boundaries and, if necessary, re-evaluating the value and viability of the relationship with the manipulator are essential in protecting one's emotional well-being. It is important to remember that practicing self-care and prioritizing one's own emotional health is crucial in navigating these situations. The importance of justice is a key lesson in Stoicism, encompassing fair and equitable treatment of others while also preventing exploitation of our kindness or empathy. Stoicism also emphasizes the pursuit of wisdom and truth, involving a thorough understanding of situations and people's motivations, avoiding rash judgments based on emotions. If you have reached this point, kindly comment Armored Wisdom to indicate you have watched the video up to here. Additionally, I am interested in hearing your thoughts on potential tactics. 15. I look forward to receiving your response. See you shortly.